the commander here. Having a good day? Yeah, it's a pretty good show today. Had some reasonable excitement, you know. I can't complain. All things considered, although I have had more exciting jobs in my life. No, not in radio. This has been my most exciting radio job. The shrieking, the reeking, the action, but I'm talking about other jobs entirely, other careers. I'm talking about the excitement of man against man. I'm talking about the ultimate hunt. Culture versus culture. Weaponry versus weaponry. I'm talking about the excitement back in the days when the name on my uniform said Greaseman, but everybody knew me as Sergeant Fury. Coin Tree, 1967. We were just coming in country for the first time. They were taking us in on a regular airliner. And I remember sitting there, it was hard getting into the seat. They made us regulations, they said, carry a parachute. Full packs. M16s loaded, extra clips. And I remember sitting there, looking at the buddies that I just met. Shapiro, Robinson, Kalachecki, Watson, Prokopic, DiLorenzo, Dombrowski, Meiselman, they were all there. All scared kids except me. Hey! I guess I should have known even then that I just had a mentality for numb. And I remember saying to the lieutenant who was on the flight with us, "Hey, Lieutenant, how long before we can get out there and dink-a-dink-a-dink-a-dink-a-dink, huh? How long before we can get out there and kill some commies?" He said, "Well, let me see, you'll have 2 weeks of in-country orientation. Then it'll be a briefing, probably bush school. I'd say you should be out there in 3 to 4 months." I said, 3 to 4 months? What are you, nuts? I came here to kill commies and I want to. He said, "Relax, Sergeant, you'll have your opportunity." I said, "I want to do it now." He said, "We're over North Vietnam now. Take a look. That's where you're going to be sweating your butt off in another couple of months." And I looked down there, and I knew there were commies down there. And I couldn't contain myself. I said, "Men, pull your seatbelts extra tight. Pull them extra tight right now." Lieutenant jumped up and said, "What the hell do you think you're doing?" I said, "Shut up and stand aside, Lieutenant." And I took the butt of my M16 and I broke out a window, causing rapid decompression. Trays flew everywhere. The lieutenant got sucked out the window. "See you later, buddy." I said, "All right, men, break out the windows at your seats." Sure enough, those little oxygen cups fell down and we all took a breath of air. And I watched as the men started busting out their windows. Yeah! I told the stewardess to unstrap herself, go forward, and tell the captain to take her down. Take her down, treetop closer. And sure enough, that was my introduction to North Vietnam. All of us standing there on that Boeing 727 firing out the windows. Hey! Fury's on the word! Yeah! Give her everything you got, boy! Everyone we kill now is one we will have to kill later! Cease firing! Take her up! Take her up, Captain! All the men looked around smiling. We were at low enough altitude, so we killed the oxygen and lit up camels. The stewardess was looking at me like, "My God, there is a man." I said, "Come on, little darling. Come on, little darling." I grabbed her. I put my arm around her waist. I kissed her full on the lips. At first she resisted. Then she kissed me hungrily back. She said, "You are a madman, but my God, I love it. I love it." And we went back into the head. She slid the little latch that said occupied. And as I sat down and relaxed with my head lolling against the wall, she gave me some of the best gobbledygook I'd ever known in my life. And as she was at work, I smiled and looked at her. I said, "Well, little darling, they told you to get into flight school. It's a career you can truly sink your teeth into, huh?" She looked at me and said, "Oh." I said, "Never mind." All the men grinned at each other in the forward cabin, knowing full well what was happening. They could all tell the second I achieved my Shangri-La, I screamed, "Yeah, man, oh man. She was hot. She was hot. Oh, I mean, when we're talking perfecto mundo. I mean, oh. Well, when we were coming in over the airfield, I was about ready for round 2. Everything was peaceful. I'll never forget the moment when suddenly I saw something wink from the ground, and I heard the captain scream, "My God, it's a heat-seeking missile!" The next thing I knew, I was floating end over end in the slipstream, just spinning wildly. Fortunately, I had the parachute on because I was using that to, rest my head against the wall. I hadn't had it straightly strapped on, and when I hit the ripcord, it nearly pulled out of my hands. So I used both hands to hang onto the straps of that chute, and there was the stewardess flipping end over end beside me. She just about bled away from me, but at the last second, she grabbed the hydraulics and hung on. And so that's how I entered Nam. That's how I entered Nam. With my 2 meaty arms hanging onto that chute. And that stewardess hanging on to the hydraulics. Oh, God, it was awesome. I often wonder if she had made it, we'd probably get together once a year on the anniversary of that event and talk about our good fortune, but... Well, what happened was, as I was hanging from the chute, I started swinging to and fro, and Buddy, with her hanging on, it was just too good. When I achieved my Shangri-La, she lost her grip. But at least, on the bright side, she gave me a soft spot to land.